video will cover parts of the practice exam / review for exam 2 that will cover sections from 2.1 to 2.6. So, first question, we have to find a horizontal asymptote. If it is horizontal and it says here type an equation, make sure that you don't put just the number, but you put the correct letter, which should be y. And here we have same degree, so we just know that we have to get the ratio of the leading coefficients, right? Yeah, you all know that? Yeah. So, but what if your function was top heavy? What would you say if it was top heavy? Does it have a horizontal? Okay. So no horizontal asymptote. And what if the function was bottom heavy? What would you say? By default? So y equals 0. Great. So make sure that you are aware of all three cases. Now next question, we have here the quadratic function. And it is written in standard form. The one on your test is also in standard form. But what we need you to acknowledge is that to get the vertex from here, you have to consider the standard form has a negative right there next to the h in front of it. And so because of that, that makes the number inside the parentheses have a counterintuitive shift. So if you see a +4, that's actually moving to the left. And so because of that, the vertex happens to be -4, comma, and then this -9, it would just keep it like it is because there's a plus here in front of the formula. So in fact, if you're still confused like why, this equation is actually f of x equals x minus, and then we have that -4 in there. And so this negative is what causes it to have a positive there. But the h value is still -4. Are we clear on that? Yes. Okay. And you have a graphing calculator. You will have one during the test, so please use it. Just use it. Please do me that favor. Okay? And so the axis of symmetry is going to be a vertical line, so you have to use an equation. If you just put the number, it's going to count it wrong. And I don't care. I'm not going to go back and change your grade. Type an equation, so that will be x equals, and it comes from the x-coordinate of the vertex, so -4. The domain of the function, we're talking about quadratic, is all real numbers. The range of the function, so let's locate the vertex first. So we have -4, -9, that will be here. And then is this parabola, what is the leading coefficient? Not the degree is 2. What will be the leading coefficient? It will be a 1. So it's positive. And if the leading coefficient is positive, we'll have a positive parabola. If the leading coefficient was negative, just like negative people, we will have a frowning parabola. So in this case, we don't know exactly where they're going to go. Well, I mean, I could tell you. It will be 9. Okay. We're not going to do that. So it's going to go like that, right? So let's think about the range. What will be the lowest point? -9 included. And it says here interval notation. Yes. So bracket. If you put a parenthesis there, I don't care if you meant to put a bracket. It's wrong. And it will be wrong. And I don't want to hear any complaints. What is the highest y value possible? Infinity. But what if you have a parabola that is facing down? So let's practice. If your vertex was, let's say, 2, 3, how would you tell me the range? So you start from -infinity. What if you put a bracket here? It's wrong.
Incorrect.
And I don't care what you say, it's wrong, and it will be wrong. Why? Because infinity and -infinity is a concept, not a number. So you cannot say infinity is included. Yes?
So on our exam, is it going to be like in a normal where we have 3 tries to put in the correct answer?
No, one try. It's an exam. And I mean, we're going out of our way giving you guys this practice exam. So, and we're doing this because we don't want to hear any whining and crying. Yes?
Does it tell you if it's wrong or right though?
No. Not until the end.
So at the end it scores you?
It will tell you your score, but you cannot see your answers until Friday. Okay, all right. What else do we have here? Find all the zeros of this polynomial. So this is your quiz. You don't have to find the zeros, but I want you to use the card's rule of signs. Do not talk to anyone at this time. I'm very serious. I'll give you a zero if you talk to anyone. No. So I'm going to give you a sticky note. You want to consider this polynomial, and you're going to tell me how many positive zeros you could have, real, and how many negative you could have by using this rule, the card's rule of signs. So you want Andrea has this. Andrea and Andre. And Philip.
It's Amy.
It's Amy.
I'm sorry. I was looking at Andrea over here. Amy and Andrew will pass that sticky note to you. Do not talk to anyone. You can start doing the steps on your test. And then on the sticky, you will tell me how many positive real zeros could you have, or how many negative real zeros could you have? And that's the quiz. If you watch the video, 2.5 part B, right? That's what I told you. From that. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Oh, is it cool if we do it like sticky?
That's fine. Make sure you write your name on the sticky. If you don't turn in the sticky, it's a zero. If you guys don't turn in the sticky, it will be a zero. So make sure you guys have your name written. Por favor. So according to the Descartes rule of signs, how many positive real zeros could that polynomial have, and how many negative real zeros could that polynomial have? And do not talk to anyone.
What was it?
If I use the Descartes rule of signs here, I have to count the number of sign changes. So that will be 1, and then 2. So I could have 2 positive real zeros, or 0, which means none.
Wait, what?
Because you subtract 2.
Oh,
But you will not have to watch the video. Now, how do we find the negative possibility? So we need to find f of negative x. And that will be negative x to the third power minus 3, negative x to the second power minus 13 times negative x plus 15. So this will be negative x cubed. This will be positive, but that times a negative. And then here we will get positive. And then positive. So then how many sign changes do we get? Only 1. So we can have 1 negative real zero.
so we put 2 positive and 1 negative, right?
So
Yeah,
what
that's
if we
fine.
didn't put the zero?
Okay, now here, you will have to actually find the zero. So it says here, use the rational zero theorem. So for that, you need to take the factors. I'm going to erase this to make more space.
Google hacking you again?
I think so. Okay, so we will, where was that? Okay, rational zero theorem, guys, you have to make sure that you use the factors of the constant. You must remember that the factors of the constant go on top. And they're divided by the factors of the leading coefficient. It's always that way. If you flip the order, it's wrong. So it will be, and for this particular case, the constant is 15. So it will be all the plus minus 1, plus minus 3, plus minus 5, and 15. And then all of those numbers divided by plus minus 1. So how many options do we have here? Not 4, we have 8.
8.
But we know that out of those 8, 2 are positive and 1 is negative.
Yeah.
Okay? So, but you also have your calculator, so you can make a good decision, right? A good guess. But now look at how the zeros, you have to enter them. The zeros of the function are, and it doesn't say to enter an equation, it just says to enter the numbers and separate them with a comma.
All right.
Okay? So, now, intermediate value theorem. I know I told you I was going to have a question like that, and that's the one that says that if you have 2x values, and one of them has a positive y value and the other one has a negative y value, meaning opposite signs, that means that there must be an x-intercept somewhere in between, right? Because for the graph to go from here to here, from this point to this point, it has to go across the x-axis somehow. So let's see, what do you need to do here? You have polynomial, you have 2x values, x equals 1 and x equals 4. So what do you need to do? You need to prove that one has a positive and one has a negative y value. Doesn't matter which one. No, it doesn't, as long as it's positive, negative. So you have to find f of 1. So you could use your scratch paper to do that. So f of 1 will be 1 cubed minus 2 times 1 minus 1. So that will be 1 minus 2 minus 1. So that will be negative 3 plus 1 is negative 2. Okay. Then we find f of 4. Okay, so f of 4. So that would be 4 to the third power minus 2 times 4 minus 1. And that will give me 64. Okay, so we have 64 minus 8 minus 1. So that's going to be 64 minus 9. What is that? 50.
60, no, it's
55?
not 55. No. Yeah. No, 56. 56. Oh, minus
It's
55.
55.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, so what we care is that we have a negative and a positive. So what would you click here?
Yes.
Yes.
He's like, sorry.
Okay, now here, please, guys. We're almost out of time, so I'm going to tell you what sections to look for on your notes. Okay? This is section 2.1. Make sure that you multiply. So you will be multiplying like the negative 5 times the a plus I, and then you will multiply the 7i times the a plus I. Like if you were foiling, we know that's not a real word, but you know what I mean. And so make sure you simplify, make sure you combine like terms, but also make sure that anytime you see an I squared, you replace that with a negative 1, please. Next problem is from section 2.6. Arrow notation is on your notes. You have your asymptotes here. Do I see them? So you need to see what's going on the left or on the right. Is it going up to infinity, down to negative infinity? Is it leveling here at the horizontal asymptote? You guys tell me. So well, let's just answer this one. So no, you guys do it. Okay, right here. Make sure that you do the same. This is the rational zero term, so you need the factors of 5 divided by the factors of what? Of 6. But if you reverse the order, it's wrong. And if it's wrong, it's wrong. I'm not going to go and change it right. I promise. So this will be plus minus 1, plus minus 5, divided by plus minus 1, plus minus 2, plus minus 3, and plus minus 6. So you're going to end up with a whole bunch of fractions here. All right? Which is the correct one? 8. Look, we're not dividing by 5 at all. So you see how that one is there to trick you?
Oh, yes.
Okay? All right. This is all section 2 points. Is it 3 or 5? 5. Okay, next question. We already did that, right? No, so if you were to have, let's say this one, how many sign changes do we have? 1, 2. So you have either 2 or 0. Why? Because you always keep subtracting an even integer. So let's just pretend that you had 7 sign changes. So then your possibilities will be 7 or 5 or 3 or 1. And then you stop. Because if you subtract another 2, you get -1. You cannot have negative possibilities. Okay? Next, the last one, you're doing synthetic division to find the function value by using the remainder theorem. So what number should you put in the box? If the question is f of 1, you put a 1. Then you put your coefficient. 4, -12, 5, -6, and then whatever you get for the remainder, that should be the function value. And here you already have the equal sign, so here you just enter a number, okay? Let's see.
So was the denominator of the remainder of that remainder question?
That it will just
It would
be
be
the
x
solid
minus
number,
Oh.
not over the fraction. Okay, here, guys, if you were to do behavior, so this is section 2.3. Remember, if it rises from the left, from the right, it falls in behavior. So look at that table for that. Let's see, what else do we have? X-intercepts, you guys know how to find them. Y-intercepts, you know how to find them. When you get to this is section 2.1, guys. Make sure that you remember that you have to multiply both top and bottom by the complex conjugate of this one. And the complex conjugate is same term, but different sign in the middle, top and bottom. And this is section 2.1, okay? When you multiply, make sure you do it correctly, look at your notes, compare, don't rush, don't assume that you know everything. Now here you have synthetic division. Can we do synthetic? Yes, because the leading coefficient here is a 1, and the degree is a 1 of the divisor. So what number do we put in the box? Positive or negative? Positive. Now look at the coefficients. We have x to the 5th.
So 1, 0, 0.
Wait. We do not have x to the 4.
0, 0.
No. Then we have x cubed. Do we have x squared?
No.
Do we have an x?
No.
Do we have a constant?
Yes.
So you guys see what you will have to do. Be very aware of that. That you have to make up for those spaces. Okay? All right. Domain from here, you know that whatever causes that to be 0, so you have to exclude it. And this is all 2.2. So make sure you guys practice how to find the vertex by using this formula, -b/2a. And then whatever you get there, you plug it in the function to find the y value. And the vertex, the y value will give you either the max or the min. It is the y value, not the x value, not the coordinates of the points, the y value only. And where does it occur? That will be the x value of the vertex. Are we clear on that? Okay, so I really hope you guys study. I wish you luck on Monday. Just so you know, you're not going to have the option to have an example or help me solve this or take me to the textbook. You only have one chance, and it is time. It's a minute. So that's it.
How many questions?
15 is the exact same. The
Really?
exact same. Literally, with different numbers, different polynomials.
Because we use the same order?
No, they're all scrambled.
Oh, okay.